Islam, Islam, Islam. Now, let me get this out the way. Yo, yo, yo. All right. We're Gucci with that. Islam Kings, how y'all doing? Brother Jamel and your sir, how y'all doing? Huh? Good to hear from y'all. So I'm not gonna make this one too long. Nice, man. We already got 8 people in. That's dope. Appreciate y'all. So I want to not necessarily beat the same dead horse, but name change petition going through the court. So I've spoken about it a lot, but I want to really go in depth and break down exactly the false fear of what Moors have been saying throughout the years, which is us going through the courts puts us back in jurisdiction. So I want to dispel all of those false fears, and tell you exactly what you're dealing with when you go through the court, based on how you choose to deal with it. All right. So that's all based on one's own comprehension of how the system is being run. I explained a lot of this in my when I presented my book in the last video. Um, so pretty much a lot of what I'm talking about is in that. So I'm really relaying information now from the book rather than trying to put information together and put something together, because I already done laid out all the information, all the steps. Now I'm going to go over why we're doing the steps. Um, and I can freestyle a little bit, right? Um, Good thing is the book speaks for me, speaks for a lot of Moors who have gone through the process, and you know, just try to be as truthful as possible based on what I've experienced, and not necessarily what. When I first started out as a Moor, I was doing a lot of things based on what I heard a lot of Moors say. Either Moors I was building with individually, privately, or Moors I was watching on YouTube. So it took a while for me to realize that as much information, even me, as much as people deem or feel like, hey, I get a lot of information from Cool, it's not my information. You know what I'm saying? I'm reading it from the source, which everyone has access to. I'm not special. I'm not any more special than you are as far as being able to access the source. Now, what you want to do with it, that's really up to you. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, in me, and I feel like in other Moors who are on top of their SHIT, I truly feel like um, that's just the manifestation of freedom is important to me. It's either live free or die. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather live a minute as a free man than live 30 years as a slave. You see what I'm saying? If I'm aware of that decision, that's the decision I'm going to make. I would never choose slavery over freedom. My ancestors didn't do that, right? So that just shows you Moors who are on top of their game, and you'd be like, yo, I can really, vibe or get a lot of information from this Moor. That's because freedom means a lot to that individual. You know what I'm saying? But we got to keep things in context. Freedom don't mean a lot to me because of you. Freedom means a lot to me because I love freedom. I love what freedom feels like. And that's the same experience for every individual Moor. So like I said, for me, I was making a lot of moves based on what I was hearing Moor say. Don't get me wrong, I would do like a little bit of research, but not really in depth as I should have. You know what I'm saying? So that's not to blame Moors for misleading. You can't blame someone else for misleading you, because you had to make the decision in the first place to follow. All right, everything is based on contract, so you can't blame someone for an effect to which you created the cause. You're the one that chose to follow this person. You're the one that chose to listen to this individual and not back up or go do your own research. You know what I'm saying? You're the one that made up in your mind that what this person says is good enough for me. And I was like that for a while. And so, as you can see, you know, even if you're watching like my page, my the direction of my videos shift, but it's not like I'm shifting out of nationality. I'm polishing and refining the proper procedures that we supposed to be going through. If I had known this from day one, if I had known this, I would have done this from day one. No problem, no ill wills, no ill feeling like, why do I need to go into the courts to reclaim my name when they didn't have to go through the courts to uh, take my shit? Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you they didn't have to go through the courts? And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean when I say what I'm saying. So, in order for them to take control of our estates, they didn't do that shit with guns and war and military. We had all the military. What are you talking about? We didn't get conquered through by um, military means. You know what I'm saying? Not by foreigners. It was by people who look like us. It wasn't by Caucasian, you know, people who we deem as Caucasian today. Those weren't the ones. Those are Johnny come latelys, man. We was beefing with each other. We was using gunpowder on each other, turret guns on each other, cannons on each other, warplanes on each other. You understand what I'm saying? So, can't blame other people, man, for our decisions. You get where I'm going with this? But to say that they didn't have to go through the courts to reclaim, to fool us, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? If they didn't have to go through the courts, right? How is it then that they have all these remedies in place in statutes, in the Constitution, in certain codes, in certain acts that are in alignment with the Constitution, thus in alignment with the treaty? Why is that? How could those things be there if they never had to go through the courts in the first place to take over our estates? You tell me that. How? How do you have statutes that speak to um, having remedies dealing with our estates, knowing that they escheated us, knowing that they reclassified it as Negro, black, and colored? So if they didn't have to go through the courts, then why the hell would they have to make statutes and remedies for us to be able to remove those spells casted upon us if they didn't have to go through the courts? If you don't have to go through the court, then why all of a sudden now you got to establish your order where you got certain statutes? Now you got these canon laws in place where if you do some fuck shit, you gotta leave some type of way for the people to be able to give themselves remedy. That's in their canon laws. Why have all these structures and things if you didn't have to go through the court to take our shit in the first place? So how you go from not needing no order to taking our shit, and now all of a sudden now there's all this order to show how we can reclaim our shit? That don't make sense. So yes, they took our shit by going through the courts, so we go through the courts to retake our shit back. Okay? That's how it go. The pendulum swing back and forth, back and forth. That's how it was throughout history. We come into one territory, and when I say we, I mean as a people. Like I can have my clique here, you have your clique over there. You see some territory, you beefing with people that look like us, but that doesn't mean we get along. Yeah, we're both indigenous to the continent. That don't mean we get along. We got family members, blood family members we don't get along with. You know what I'm saying? So that's not something brand new, right? Not all skin folk is not all skin folk is kinfolk, right? So if we're going to take over each other's territories, we go and reclaim a territory. All right, boom, I just took your territory. Now, knowing that you're indigenous, knowing that you're brave, knowing that you're a warrior, knowing that you got your tribe, your women, and your children, you gonna take that L quietly? For real though, for real though. Just, you gonna take that L quietly? Or are you gonna be like, all right, bet, you got this one. I'm gonna see you though. I don't care how long it takes. Year, 2 years, 3 years, couple months. And then what happens? A war happens. They reclaim their shit. Then they have peace. Then another war happens. Their shit gets conquered again. We was doing that to each other. So, hey, brother Ali, what's good with you, King? Hey, man, we got a link, bro. My fault for missing your phone call, but you know, family, new baby on the way. You already know how that go. But we got a link, bro. We got a lot to catch up on. So, let's go right into it. I want to clarify what's going on here, right? I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk too much. Where we at with everything? Let me see where I'm at first. Oh, that is it. So here we go. Where we at? First, I want to deal with the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Okay? Now, this is what I'm showing you, what is codified in the United States Code, right? But this is what the document's called. And you've seen me go over this document tons of times. Tons of times. I can't even count how many times I done went over this document now. And I'm still going over it because I still get something new out of it. And it's been codified in United States codes. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Text. Just get the text for now. That looks pretty small. Let me get the PDF. All right, so y'all can see where I'm coming from. Authenticated U.S. government information. HR 1308, 103rd Congress of the United States of America, not the United States. At the first session begun and held at the city of Washington on Tuesday, the 5th day of January, 1999. An act to protect the free exercise of what? Religion. Religion. Now, what the hell do you think we talking about when we say religion? You think we talking about church? You think we talking about Sunday? Gotta grab your Bible, gotta grab your Quran, study verses. Nah, we're not talking about that. Although those are important principles for moral character, for moral building, so that way you can conduct yourself out there in the public or the commercial realm. You need that. That's important, but that's not what we're talking about right now. Right now, we're talking about law. Okay? We're talking about the legality of things, because that's how shit is running today. Legal. Back then, everything was lawful. Now, today, everything is lawful and legal. Right? They got a loophole now. Legal. But I tell you, once we flip and master the legal, then they no longer have a loophole. Now all they have is a coffin that they can rest in peacefully. You see what I'm saying? Not to say we trying to put people to death, but the spiritual battle of you trying to subjugate me to think that I'm Negro, black, and colored, I'm not from here, that I'm something lower than what I really am. That's a spiritual battle. That's a psychological battle. You attacking my mind. You know what I'm saying? Through propaganda, environment, shit, things you put in front of me, around me. You know what I'm saying? Just what you're trying to subjugate me to via the environment. Based on how I think. Because based on how I think is how I'm going to move. Right? So, religion. Now, what is religion? I already did the work, right? Pulled it up in the Black's Law Dictionary. Religion, because we're dealing with law, right? Religion, applied with the terms of the deed of trust. The terms of the deed of trust. Don't that sound like a contract to y'all? Hold up. Let's look up deed of trust. What's a deed of trust? An instrument in use in many states, taking the place and serving the use of a common law mortgage, by which the legal title to real property is placed in one or more trustees to secure the repayment of a sum of money or the performance of other conditions. Performance. They owe us a performance. They can't pay us in money. We already got the money. They can't pay us in money. We are the money. There's nothing to pay. However, you do have some things you need to perform. You have some tasks and some obligations. You got a job. You owe me. Why do they owe me? Because we have, and we really should, I hold this treaty in very high regard because this is our deed of trust. Okay? This is our deed of trust right here. This is our deed of trust. Okay? This is our deed of trust. Because what does religion mean? Plied with the terms of the deed of trust. Right? This is our deed of trust. Let's read what a deed of trust is. Oh, we did that already. And it's based on what? Performance of other conditions or repayment of a sum of money. They can't repay us. All they can do is perform other conditions for us. They owe us. Why? Because in the treaty, we granted them to their commerce our dominions. That's called the loan. You understand? When they didn't have nothing, we granted them something to work with. And they're still working with that today. Thus, an instrument in use in many states. What instrument would that be? Oh, maybe that would be the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It's a congressional record, self-authenticated, self-certified. You can find it in the Library of Congress. It's admissible in court as evidence. It's an international document. What more do you need? So that is our deed of trust, right? Now, what does plied mean? Because now we got to go into words, right? Plied. Of course, we know it's a suffix, but it's using the verb tense, right? Because plied, let's go back to the definition, plied with the terms of the deed of trust. So this is an action right now. It's being used as a verb. In the past tense, look at here, plied. What word do they have here for religion? Plied. Okay? Plied, past participle, plied. 1. Work with a tool, especially one requiring steady, rhythmic movements. A teller delicately plying his needle. As an example. Similar, use, wield, work with, employ, operate, utilize, manipulate, handle, work steadily at one's business or trade, conduct. He plied a profitable export trade, as an example. Okay? So, just want you guys to understand. Y'all can go deeper into this. You see what I'm saying? As far as the etymology goes. Old English, apply, late Middle English, shortening to apply. Let's go here. Then when you go to the etymology, it's really applicare, ad, which means to, Latin, applicare, fold, fasten to, Old French, applier, apply, late Middle English. So late Middle English from Old French, applier, from Latin, applicare, fold, fasten to, from add to, plicare, to fold. So what am I fastening to? What am I fastening myself to? Boom. I'm fastening myself back to the treaty. Okay? That's religion and law. And then that religion is based on oh yeah, I just had it. It's based on the terms of the deed of trust. This is the treaty, right? And then when you read this treaty, you'll see that there are 25 terms. Here's the first term, second term, third term, fourth, so on and so forth, right? all the way to number 25. There's 25 terms in this deed of trust. So let's go back to the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which is here, right? So I just want y'all to see something. Look at here. Congressional findings and declaration of purposes. 1. The framers of the Constitution, recognizing free exercise of religion as an unalienable right, secured its protection in the First Amendment of the Constitution. 2. Laws neutral toward religion may burden religious exercise as surely as laws intended to interfere with religious exercise. 3. Government should not substantially burden religious exercise without compelling justification. 4. In Employment Division versus Smith, 494 U.S. 872. Let me make this bigger. My bad. I got y'all though. 872. Here we go. I'm right here. 4. In Employment Division versus Smith, 494 U.S. 872, 1990, the Supreme Court virtually eliminated the requirement that the government justify burdens on religious exercise imposed by laws neutral toward religion. And 5, the compelling interest test as set forth in prior federal court rulings is a workable test for striking sensible balances between religious liberty and competing prior governmental interests. Purposes. The purpose of this act are 1. To restore the compelling interest test as set forth in Sherbert versus Verner. These are all study things to read up on, right? And Wisconsin versus Yarder, 406 U.S. 205, 1972. And to guarantee its application in all cases where free exercise of religion is substantially burdened. And 2, to provide a claim, this one's the important one right here, to provide a claim or defense to persons whose religious exercise is substantially burdened by government. Now, that we know when they say religious exercise, they're talking about your ability to, let's go back here. Got to go back one. Your ability to work with, to use, wield, work, employ, operate, utilize, manipulate, handle the terms of the deed of trust. So your religion as a being, a human being, as a people, your religion, okay, is your ability to use, wield, and manipulate the terms of your deed of trust. This is your deed of trust, y'all. And based from this deed of trust, you can create your own individual trust for, let's say, your family, or just for you by yourself, right? And then connect yourself to your deed of trust. Connect yourself back to your religion. Fasten yourself back to your treaty. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about church, Jesus, God, Allah. We're not talking about none of that right now. We're talking about religion according to law. And trust is the highest form of law. Trust is ecclesiastical. As you can see, it deals with religion. So what deed of trust have you fastened yourself back to? Free people are connected to a treaty. Slaves are connected to Christian black codes. Slaves are connected to the edicts that were in the papal bulls that were put out by the popes throughout the centuries. Those are the slaves. Those are the that's the deed of trust that they're connected to, that they're fastened to, right? So if you're a slave, that means you're fastened to slave law. If you're a free man, you're fastened to a treaty, and then that treaty is, births a constitution. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope I'm not. I hope that wasn't. Let me know. Let me see where I'm at. All right, bet everybody. Yeah, cool. Damn, so we're packed out. So I'm talking about. Let's get this right, man. So we breaking the fear right now of, yo, religion according to law. Because see, if you want to talk about God, Jesus, Allah, buildings, structures, all that stuff, that's cool. That ain't got nothing to do with law. That got nothing to do with law. That's private. Okay? When we're talking about the law in your religion, you better have one. You better have a religion, yo. Now that you know what a religion is. Your religion means, oh, this dude know who he is. He's aware of the fact that his ancestors left the deed for him. He's aware of the terms of the deed. And then he's using those terms, right, to help him function today based on the deed of trust that his ancestors already created. So now he has a religion. He has his God with him. And when you look at it from a law perspective, when they say you have your God or your God is with you, what they're saying is that you are connected to your deed of trust, which means that you have made the connection with your ancestors and they've given you the key, the deed of trust. Now that you have the key, you got to have the ability to use it, to wield it, manipulate it. Even if you don't want to look at it as a key, look at it as a shield, or look at it as a sword. What good are those things in your hand if you don't know how to use them? You got a bomb-ass shield that can block anything, but you don't know how to block. You got a bomb-ass sword that'll slice through anything, but you don't know how to wield a sword. You're not a swordsman. So what does that mean? Do you throw away these wonderful things because you don't have the skill? Or do you say, well, damn, I gotta get my level up. It's time to level up. That's what I say. All right, I gotta level up there so I can use that, because not using that is not an option. But that's based on me and how much I value freedom. I would do anything for freedom, except devalue or myself or my dignity or anyone else around me. Anything against love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, I won't do that shit. Because freedom is in alignment with love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Right? Check. Oh, thank you, Ken. Appreciate you. House of Moors. Hey, yo, check out my bro, House of Moors, on YouTube. That's my brother Mansa, a tribal member. You know, he know what it is. More pride. Yeah. Because all my tribal members have gone through the court process as well, right? So what I'm talking about, they already know what it is. All right. So now we know what religion is, and we know what the deed of trust is. Let's go into, now once again, right? Everything here has been codified. So I'm letting you know, Religious Freedom Restoration Act, right? So once you have all these things understood, now let's see how they codified this. They took this act and then they put it into the United States Code. Specifically, United States Code. What section is this? Let's be certain. United States Code, Chapter 21B, Religious Freedom Restoration. That's United States Code, Chapter 21B. Okay? And let's go here. Free exercise of religion protected. This one is a biggie, y'all. Judicial relief. Because what happens when you go through the courts? Judicial relief is being sought, right? Look, because like I said, they went through the courts to fuck us over, to cheat our estates. This is why we're going through the courts, to regain our judicial relief. This is called restitution. Self-restitution, all right? A person whose religious exercise has been burdened in violation of this section may assert that violation as a claim or defense in a judicial proceeding and obtain appropriate relief against a government. They're not talking about people, persons. They're actually saying you can get relief against a government. Who needs that? I wonder. Who needs judicial relief against a government? Look, Standing to assert a claim or defense under this section, I'm gonna go real slow. I'm gonna highlight this too. They're gonna love this part. This is for all everyone who says going through the court put you in jurisdiction. Don't want to deal with religion. You don't know what religion is according to law. Judicial relief. Look, standing to assert a claim or defense under this section shall be governed by the general rules of standing. Who's looking for legal standing? Also note, maybe I should read up on the general rules of standing. See, I can know what legal standing is. But let's start back from the top. Standing to assert. Standing to assert a claim or defense. How can you stand if you don't have no standing? Do you get what I'm saying? You can't sue somebody laying down unless you actually have a legal, I'm sorry, you actually have a real health issue to where you can't physically stand up 90 degrees. Otherwise, you got to be up on your square, all right, with the corners polished off so the wheel could spin. Standing to assert a claim or defense under this section shall be governed by the general rules of standing. Under what? Article 3 of the what? Constitution. Whoa, 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 whoa. What? What? But I thought going through the court is pushing me or pulling me further away from the Constitution. I thought religion is just mind control to get me caught up in all these schools of thought. No. Religion just means to fasten yourself back to your deed of trust. Fasten yourself, realign yourself back to your holy covenant. If you're not aligned, connected to your covenant, meaning you're not connected to your ancestors, that means you don't have a God. That means you're lawless. You're stateless. You come from nowhere. You don't know where you come from. Fell and bumped your head. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, y'all. A great fall. But then the rise is going to be even greater. But we got to kill all these fears, yo. How many more is stopping their own process right now because they're afraid of going through the court? How many more would have already done this process already if they had known that standing to assert a claim or defense under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, meaning you're just exercising your exercise of religious freedoms, right? If you had known that standing to assert something that is, let's go back here. What is it? What is it? Oh, right. It's an unalienable right. Who knew that if you went into the court and asserted your unalienable right, which in law is your religion, right? Because if you have your religion according to law, which is your unalienable right, that means automatically you have your nationality to follow. You see, we giving everyone everything in the wrong order. So when we go into public, we don't talk about nationality. Do you think when I gotta go out here in the public and handle business, I'm talking about nationality? No, I'm talking about religion. Because nationality is within that, according to law. And when I say religion, we're talking about your connection to ancient covenants that have been established through people whose bloodline you come from. You come from them. That was you back then, putting treaties together. Hey, set up shop there, build there. Let's raise these pillars here. Let's put this phallus here. Let's put this obelisk here. Let's build these castles. That was you. That was you. It still is you. Still is you. So, religion, right? Unalienable right. Thus, of course, an unalienable right would fall under Article 3 of the Constitution, wouldn't it? General rules of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. So now, when people ask me, well, I'll leave that for last so you really get the full comprehension. I'll show you my name change petition real quick, right? Now, after you assert this, right? Because this is what you're doing when you go through the courts. Look at what happens over here. Because it said what? Seeking judicial relief, meaning exercising your religious freedom via the First Amendment, which means that you can either say it or write it, freedom of speech, right? When you're asserting your freedom of speech in court proceedings and you're seeking judicial relief based on your religious protections, based on the fact that you have a connection to your ancient covenant, then that brings you under the general rules of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. Now, next question. I mean, the next fear to be dispelled, right? I've heard many things about Article 3 of the Constitution. Article 3, Article 3, Article 3. Consular courts, consular courts, consular courts. So that means Article 3 is consular court. Yes? Okay. But look at what it says. Standing to assert a claim or defense under this section shall be governed by the general rules of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. So me asserting my right underneath my religion puts me under the rules of general standing underneath consular courts. Now, mind you, Pete, it didn't say nothing about buildings. It didn't say standing to assert a claim in the Supreme Court, standing to assert a claim in probate court, standing to assert a claim in... It didn't say nothing about buildings, did it? What it says is standing to assert a claim or defense under this section, meaning utilizing or exercising your religious freedoms, will bring your situation underneath the rules of the general rules of standing underneath Article 3 of the Constitution, which is consular courts. So that means for your state, if they say you do name change in the probate court, for the slaves, it's called probate court, but for you, that's consular court, based on you exercising your religious freedoms. Now that you know what religion is according to law, your trust. Because all nationals have a treaty. If you don't have a treaty to connect yourself to, what are you a national of? Because you know, in order to have a foreign mission, right? The sending state, which would be the mission that's the state that's sending the mission, that's raising the mission, that's raising that country's flag. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? You have to be connected to your nation. And then your nation has a treaty that holds legal weight in these modern day and ages as to who you are and how you're supposed to be treated. That's what these treaties are for today. Because obviously today we got absorbed up into the United States of America, right? Which was karmic because we was doing a lot of F shit. We were reneging on a lot of stuff, man. So as great as we were acting in a way where we no longer deserved to be in that position. Our time was done for that moment. It was time for a new face to rise or a new peoples to be in control. That's just by nature. That got nothing to do with people or man. But that's based on us choosing to no longer abide by our own laws. Imagine you make a treaty with your cousin, right? To say, yo, this vehicle right here, as long as we have a treaty with each other, whatever you have, you'll come to me first before you decide to sell it to other people. And then you know he about to get rid of something, and then you see he already sold to someone else. How you gonna feel? Aren't you gonna be like, yo, we had an agreement? Like, what happened? I thought we had a meeting of the minds. What's up? How you just gonna do that? That's not right. You know that's not right. Morally, that's not right because y'all had an agreement. So how do you think European or Caucasian people felt when we was making treaties? Hey, you know what? You no longer have to pay tribute coming down this, coming down this river. And then a week later, after a nigga make a treaty, you hear asking for tribute again. Like, yo, son, we don't got nothing. Like, I thought we had a treaty in place. Nigga, fuck you. We no longer deserve to be in the place of high priests. We lost that mentality. That's why we fell. Period. Just let the hate go. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing good lasts forever. Nothing bad lasts forever. Let the hate go. All right. So now, Article 3 of the Constitution. Let's go into Article 3 of the Constitution. I love Article 3. Do you love Article 3? Let's see what Article 3 of the Constitution deals with, right? So that way you know that when you take the position of going down to the courts and getting your name change petition done, you know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're going to find out how you're going to get that done in that particular state, territory, or county where you domicile at. Every county has a court. In that county court, you'll find the Supreme Court. And then, of course, in D.C., where they have the federal government, they have the one Supreme Court. Okay? But remember, the states are sovereign. Don't forget. Don't forget. Now, let's analyze Article 3 of the Constitution. This is consular court, y'all. Consular court. Let's go back here. Exercising your religious freedoms is not only protected, but it brings you back under consular court. One, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2. So there goes that one Supreme Court we was talking about in D.C., and then every state has a Supreme Court as well. Because every state has their own flag and constitution. Because every state is really a country. Shh, don't let them fool you. These people out here think Washington is a state. Shh, don't let them fool you. It's a country. I'm in a country called Washington. You're probably in a country right now called New York. Someone is in a country right now called Nevada. Someone else is in a country called Iowa. Someone else is in a country called Mississippi. Someone else is in a country called Minneapolis. Someone else is in a country called Georgia, Florida. You got New Jersey. You got Pennsylvania. You got Connecticut. You got Rhode Island. These are all countries. You got Massachusetts Bay. These are all countries. Virginia, Maryland, Arizona. These are all countries, y'all. These are all countries. They have a flag. They have a constitution. They have a court. Think about it. So, well, I can't be a Moorish Moor. I'm just a Moor. Yeah, two of the same things. And yes, the laws of the United States do apply because the laws of the United States are Islamic in origin. Even Obama told you that. Obama told us all that the United States Constitution is based off of Islamic law. So this is an Islamic country, real rap. Be honest with you. So yeah, I am a Moor. My Moorish empire has been reorganized into what we call today the United States of America. And because of that, the United States of America is obligated to protect my ass as well as other Moors who are in proper status because they are obligated to, because they have a contract. They have a deed of trust that they must honor. This is why they have to go through all the work to get us to be Negro, black, and colored. That made it easy. Look, Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity. In law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made, or which shall be made under their authority to all cases affecting what? Ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be a party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state. Let me break all this down for y'all. It's just get confusing. Look right here. The treaties, let's start back from here. Treaties, for one, like I said, if you're a national, that means you have a treaty that you're connected to. Because in law, you have something called religion. If you don't have religion, you're not a national. Not according to law. No, no. Maybe amongst us privately you are, but according to law, amongst the world, no. No, you're a slave to the world. That's just the truth. Now, treaties made, or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls. So that's what you exercising your religious freedom in the courts is bringing you underneath now. Treaties, right? Dealing with who? Ambassadors, public ministers, and consuls. To all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, that's meaning in the public realm, right? To controversies to which the United States shall be a party, right? If we need to sue something against the government, to controversies between two or more states, that would mean like New York and Virginia, between a state and citizens of another state, meaning the state of Carolina, the people of the state of Carolina versus Joe Schmo, and Joe Schmo is a resident of Pennsylvania. Okay? Between citizens of different states. That means Joe Schmo number 1 from Virginia is suing Joe Schmo number 2 from Arizona for fraud or breach of contract. That's what that is. Between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states. What's the best way I could use that? Oh, here we go. I got you. I got you. Right here. Let's go right here. Page. Yep, this is the book too. Let's go. Page 40. Ah, come on, come on. Where you at? 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 I said something about page 47. That's not really what I need. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Expatriation and citizenship is what we need. And then we need to go down. Here we go. Yes, yes. Okay. Where we at? Oh, past me. Boom. This will be equivalent. Make this big so y'all can see. Not too big. Y'all see this right here. Right here. Will be equivalent to what's being said over here, which is between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states. I'm just trying to use it as an example. If you have an entity, let's say for the state of Washington, and then it's a nonprofit, and then they're going into another state to set up shop. Now they're also going to need some buildings and stuff like that to for them to function. So Although they can both be in the same state as other residents from that state have land grants, and then you have residents from another state who have land grants based on the entity that's coming from that foreign state they're coming from, or foreign country, which could be like Nevada and Texas, or like Oklahoma and Missouri. You see what I'm saying? No, I just realized I got a map right in front of me. Yeah, it's just running from the brain. Okay? And between a state, grants of different states, and between a state. So now when they say between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states, and between a state, what would be the between a state? Let me show y'all. This would be this right here, right? You read this, it shows that in delivering the opinion of the court in the case involving the question of citizenship, said the plaintiff was born under the dominion of the Mexican Republic in what afterwards became the state of Texas. Okay, so now you have between Mexico and, I'm sorry, the dominion of Mexico and what that territory you now call the state of Texas. But the state of Texas exists in the dominion of Mexico. So Mexico is the mother, and this would be like the adopted child. You get what I'm saying? Mother, adopted child. So this would be land grants between a state. So you have one state, and then you got the state of Texas. These are two different states, y'all. Although they're talking about the same land. Same land, two different jurisdictions. All right? Just to clarify that part. Or the citizens thereof. Meaning you could be in the same land, and then you got one citizen who's underneath the protection of the old government, meaning that would be Mexico, and then you got someone who's Texan. And foreign states. So as you can see, Mexico, the dominions of the Mexican Republic, is foreign to the state of Texas. All right? Citizens or subjects. That's important, y'all. I broke that part down. So now y'all can't say I never did it. I could understand what that means. People just hear a lot of stuff. Oh, this is a lot. Repetitive. A lot of people just like don't really get that part because it says a lot of repetitive things. So I just want to slow down and break that up. All right. Now, in all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with such exceptions and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where the said crimes shall have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. I mean, man, it can't be more clear to y'all than this. So as you can see, Article 3 deals with nothing but ambassadors, public ministers, and consuls. So now if you're going through the court and exercising your religious freedoms, and that's putting you underneath the rules of general standing underneath Article 3 of the Constitution, so what does that make you? Don't that make you an ambassador, public minister, or consul on behalf of some foreign government? But I thought it put you in jurisdiction, though. 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act, or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture, except during the life of the person attainted. What that means is if mama or daddy fuck up or do some treason shit in their lifetime, it does not corrupt the future heirs. But niggas will be keeping an eye on you. Okay? That's what that means. I make shit real simple. I make it real simple. Real simple. All right. Okay. Made that one clear, didn't I? Already. So that's Article 3. Okay? So that's dealing all with the Constitution. Now, once again, now that we know what religion is, told you I wasn't going to keep this one too long, fam. I'm about to wrap this up shortly. But let's start first with here we go. Let's start with the 1791 Constitution, right? American Constitution. Oh, here we go. That's cool. 1791 Constitution, of course, deals with the Bill of Rights. And so they got the first 10 amendments here with commentary. Don't really need too much commentary, but we cool. Look, the first 10 amendments were proposed by Congress in 1789 at their first session, and having received the ratification of the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states, they became a part of the Constitution December 5th, 1791, and are known as the Bill of Rights. Look at the First Amendment, y'all. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. It's dealing with judicial, y'all. Judicial relief. Judicial relief is in your First Amendment. Treaty is in the First Amendment. Because now that we know what religion means, can you use, wield, or manipulate your treaty to make your life better? Right? It'd be a funny ass commercial. Like, what's in your treaty? Don't mind me, I'm just having a little fun. But real rap though. So religion is dealing with treaties and your ability to use the terms of your deed of trust to make your life better based on what the work your ancestors did in the past. So that's dealing with nationality, treaty, birthrights, right? Because it's unalienable. That's the unalienable right. Free exercise of religion is the unalienable rights. Why? Because it automatically deals with mother, birth, nation, treaties, automatically. In law, though. I'm not talking about privately, because some people think religion means a whole bunch of other stuff. That I'm not into that. I like law. Law don't care about feelings. It's just facts. Okay? Just wanted to go there. I don't really need to go any further. Well, no, I'm gonna hit you up on the Fourth Amendment too, because that's dealing with your estate. But look, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So don't you think petitioning would mean that we're going through the court? So if we're talking about going into Article 3 court, that means that everyone who has not gone through the court exercise their religious freedoms through the court to correct their title, then you have not gone through consular court. Period. And to my Moors who have done the name change petition, who have gone through the court, who have specified that their reasons for this change or correction was for religious reasons, in harmony with their ancestors. Exodus 20:12, the Holy Covenant. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days on the earth land may be long and plentiful, that the Lord thy God hath given thee. Holy Covenant. For all my Moors who have gone through that process, you already know what it is. Ambassador. What's the other one? Ambassador. What do they say? Ambassador, public minister, and consul. I'm showing y'all how to be able to tell who is who. Who is who according to the law, not according to how I feel. This is all according to the law. And people are like, where am I getting my information from? Hey, y'all, this is Cornell Law School. All right? Cornell Law School. Get your level up so you can know what you have. Okay? So anyone claiming to be consul, this, that, you have to go through certain processes, B. Now you know what questions to ask. Hey, did you go into the court and use your exercise of religious freedoms as a judicial relief to have standing to assert a claim or defense under this section, under the general rules of standing, under Article 3? Did you go to consular court to change your name? Did you go to consular court to declare your nationality? Did you? Nah, you ain't do that. The courts put you back in jurisdiction. But everyone who tells you that will not pull up any type of thing to show you how that is. How is it that I'm able to pull up the laws that affirm that, yo, going through the court is actually affirming, making concrete your conviction? But once again, these ain't my words. This is the law, right? So where else we gonna go with this one? Ambassadors, we covered that. Oh, I wanted to cover the Fourth Amendment, right? Some people who choose to do it to get it out the way, that's cool. But every state offers something called a filing fee waiver, because it is against the law and it is unconstitutional to stop your right to due process based on the fact that you don't have notes, because notes aren't money. So what you have to do is, if you don't want to pay notes or discharge with the notes, you request from the clerk a filing fee waiver. They'll know what you're asking for. It's called a filing fee waiver. They're not going to talk about that. If you've never heard about that form before in your life, it's called a filing fee waiver. You can call the clerk if you don't believe me, or go down to the court and talk to them yourself, because that's what I did. I'm speaking from experience. It's called the filing fee waiver. And I've helped plenty of Moors waive tons of filing fees. I had a Moor in Minnesota. The filing fee for name change in Minnesota is 700 notes. So that lets you know right off rip. If you don't know anything about the law, then they're really pushing to, for one, it shows they need bread. For one, the state need bread. And two, they're trying to keep people away. They're trying to keep that fear of the courts live and well. So they're trying to keep people away from the courts. I can't afford that. I can't go after my freedom. I can't afford that. Word, you can't afford your freedom? Thought freedom was free. I thought, ain't that the first four letters in freedom? F-R-E-E, free. I thought freedom is free. So check this out. Amendment 4. The right of the people. This is why it's important, y'all, to be classified in the legal system as one of the people. Let me show y'all, as a matter of fact. Off rip. Oh, where we at? Where we at with it? Hold on, y'all. Uno momento. Yeah. It's in my bag that I happen to have left in the car that my mate is using right now. But it was my passport. Wanted to pull out my passport. A lot of y'all already know I got my passport card. So, man, okay. It's always a lot better when you actually got the real thing and show you my damn passport, see what it says. But I'm just going to pull up a passport online so y'all can see what it says. Oh, I don't want that here. Google. This is get out of here. I don't want to weigh this thing down with too many stuff. I don't need all this stuff open anymore. Here we go. Now, if anyone ever realizes what the passport says on the inside, let me find an open picture. What does page number 2 say? Can't even see that. Man, that's why I wanted to have my own damn passport. Always something. It's so simple, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to do this instead. Bear with me, y'all. I'm show y'all real quick. Passport says I'm paraphrasing like hella, but here we go. Boom. Show me what I asked for. This ain't what I asked for. I didn't ask for no ching-a-chang passport. It's crazy though. I can't find a better one than that. Really hate, but that'll have to be. I just have to do. Let's see. So look at this here. And that government, this is literally in the passport. When you open the book, this is the first thing. And that government of the what? People, by the what? People, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln. That's what it says in my passport. And that government of the people, by the people, for the people. Okay? That's in the passport. Get your passport. People have the passport. Look, the right of the people. Yeah, I'm looking at you like that right now. You already know what time it is. Stop playing. The right of the people to be secure in their persons. People, persons, people, persons. You never seen that before? Let me show you where you heard that before. You heard it from me. Look. It was right here when we was dealing with, let's see, back here in this book. Oh, I had it right here in the book too. Look. I can make it bigger. See? And that government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. Now, let me go into, no, the race and ethnicity joint would be back up. Let's go back up. We got to deal with the race and ethnicity of the people. Just go back down. Just go back down. I believe that would be Portal. That'll be Portal 5. Let's see here. Missed the mark again. Just trying to find the race and classifications real quick for y'all so y'all can see the people and persons thing again. Patterns. I'm going to show y'all. Yes, here we go. Look at this. This is the Census Bureau racial classifications and their definitions. So remember, I'm going to leave this here. Look, we was just here. And it says here in the Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons. I'm going to cover everything else, but let's stop right here. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, right? Now, follow me. This is the racial classification for the Census Bureau. This is what's on the SS5 form, right? American Indian or Alaska Native. A person having origins in any of the original peoples. There go person and peoples again, y'all. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. You see that? You have a right as the people to be secure in your persons. This is why we go after our birth certificates, reclaim our estate. Because we have a right to be secure in our persons. If you are not secure in your persons, it's because you are not identified as the people. You're actually still being identified as the persons. And this is why I'm showing Moors how to go about getting their passports, so they can bring themselves back to that government of the people, by the people, for the people, that will not perish from the earth. And it's still up and running today, right? It's just under camouflage. So, once again, person having origins in any of the original people, person, people. People, person. Not the same thing, y'all. Every people should have a person that they're doing commerce with, or commerce through, I should say. That person is your trustee. Hope I'm just connecting all of the dots. Connecting all of the dots. All of them. All right, so that's what holds weight in the First Amendment. Now, just to show you how crazy this is, I'm just going to start going through different constitutions. Yes, that is the book. The book is available for purchase. PDF for 100 notes, hard copy for 120. If you wish to get the book, all you gotta do is email me at Sunel University. That's SUNELUNIVERSITY at gmail.com. So we're gonna go. And after this, I'm gonna close just to let y'all know every state is on the same wavelength, right? New York State Constitution. Boom. Here we go. Anyway, it's like this. We need to come over some. Oh, there you go. That's a lot better. 1. Article 1, Bill of Rights. This is the New York State Constitution. Now, I'm looking for. Here we go. That wasn't too hard to find. Number 3. This is the New York State Constitution, y'all. Article 1, Section 3. Freedom of worship, religious liberty. That's New York. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Let's do California. The hell is this? Okay, let's see. Bet you if I just do PDF, that'll make the life easier. Yup. Oof, California. Let's see what California got. Let's see. Bear State. Oh, you got the whole history of all this shit. So, okay. Damn. Alright, I'm gonna save this. But not what I'm looking for, but I'll read that later on my own time. Deacon. Yes. Deacon. I choose. Oh no, I need that twice. Okay. Oh, here we go. Bam. Oh man. Landed right on it. Look, Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Section 4. The free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship without discrimination or preference shall forever be guaranteed in this state, and no person shall be rendered incompetent to be a witness or juror on account of his opinions on matters of religious belief, but the liberty of conscience hereby secured shall not be so construed as to excuse acts of licentiousness or justify practices inconsistent with the peace or safety of this state. Every state has this in their constitution, where they got to speak to religion. Say Nevada state constitution. Here we go. Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Let's see. Where we at? I see that one there. Let me see. Of course, I'm not from these states, so you know, you gotta look. If you're not familiar. Oh, number 4. Here we go. Section number 4. This is the... What state is this? This is the Constitution for the state of Nevada. Article 1. Don't you see how they all have Article 1, Declaration of Rights? And so, Section 4, Liberty of Conscience. The free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship without discrimination or preference. Don't that sound just like the same article in the constitutions from the other states? Don't they sound all alike? The free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship without discrimination or preference shall forever be allowed in this state, and no person shall be rendered incompetent to be a witness on account of his opinions on matter of his religious belief, but the liberty of conscience hereby secured shall not be so construed to excuse acts of licentiousness, to justify practices inconsistent with the peace or safety of this state. Every state is in harmony with the same shit. I'm gonna pull up one more. Matter of fact, hey, somebody in the chat, throw a state out that I haven't looked up. I'm gonna pull it up right now as the last one. Show y'all that it don't matter. Give me one. Just type it in. I'm gonna wait. Illinois? Alright. Just to show y'all that I don't already got like states already preconceived, like I know which states already have them in there. Nah, just throw one out. Illinois, boom. I'll do Delaware next. Just as the cherry on the cake. Just as the cherry on the cake. Here we go. Illinois. Look at that. Section 1, inherent and inalienable rights. Section 3, religious freedom. Let's go down right through, and I'm pretty sure it'll say Declaration of Rights. Am I right? I'm off. It says Bill of Rights. Well, either it says Bill of Rights or Declaration of Rights. That's what I've noticed so far, right? Section 1, this is Illinois. Inherent and inalienable rights. All men are by nature free and independent and have certain inherent and inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights and the protection of property, governments are instituted among men, not persons, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Look at this. We got section, that's 1. Let's go to section 4. Religious freedom. The free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship without discrimination shall forever be guaranteed. Don't that sound like the last one we just read from the last state? Shall forever be guaranteed, and no person shall be denied any civil or political right, privilege, or capacity on account of his religious opinions. But the liberty of conscience, hereby secured, shall not be construed to dispense with oaths or affirmations, excuse acts of licentiousness, or justify practices inconsistent with the peace or safety of the state. No person shall be required to attend or support any ministry or place of worship against his consent, nor shall any preference be given by law to any religious denomination or mode of worship. Religious freedom has been guaranteed in all 4 Illinois constitutions. The current provision is unchanged except for punctuation from one in the 1870 Constitution. It largely overlaps the protection given by the establishment of religion and free exercise, portions of the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment, which applies to states through the 14th Amendment. In 1910, the Illinois Supreme Court held that prayer and Bible reading in public schools violated this section. Proceeding by more than, y'all remember that, right? Proceeding by more than 50 years, a similar holding by the U.S. Supreme Court, but the courts have not required total separation of the claims imposed by church and state. Illinois courts have ordered a blood transfusion for an infant to save her life over religious objections by her parents, held that a Catholic priest could sue for back salary, refused to condemn the use of public funds to mail a letter from a representative of parochial schools to parents of parochial school students, explaining the benefits to their schools of passing a tax referendum for the public schools, and upheld a Sunday closing or ordinance that in lower Illinois courts was attacked under this section. Article 10, Section 3 also contains a detailed prohibition on use of public funds to aid religious instruction. So for one, they leave us the fuck alone because they're really not trying to help us, which is a great thing for us. We don't do a lot, but they do owe us. So we expect certain, let me see. We expect certain performances or other conditions to be met or done. That's it. Booyah. That's what it is. Oh, and someone said the last one. Oh man, you threw all of them out at me, bro. I can't do all of them now. I ain't gonna do all of them. I already did. No, I didn't do none of those. Oh, you want me to do Washington? All right, man. I gotta do Washington. I can't be here all day doing these states, y'all. All right, I'm gonna do Delaware and Washington, and that's it. I'm over with it. Y'all can look up the rest for yourselves. Y'all didn't see me just pulling up Constitution. Look, follow my protocol. State Constitution PDF. Okay. Delaware, the Delaware Moors, the Delaware. Hello, Delaware. Let's see where you're at. Up here we go. Article 1, Bill of Rights. Number 1, right on your forehead. Look at that. Freedom of religion. Section 1. Although it is the duty of all persons frequently to assemble together for the public worship of Almighty God and piety and morality, on which the prosperity of communities depends, are hereby promoted, yet no person shall or ought to be compelled to attend any religious worship or contribute to the erection or support of any place of worship or to the maintenance of any ministry against his or her own free will and consent, and no power shall or ought to be vested in or assumed by any magistrate that shall in any case interfere with or in any manner control the rights of conscience in the free exercise of religious worship, nor a preference given by law to any religious societies, denominations, or modes of worship. Now, damn, I will say that is the most in-depth one I have seen. Delaware. Yo, Delaware. Son, and no power shall or ought to be vested in or assumed by any magistrate that shall in any case interfere with or in any manner control the rights of conscience. That means they're trying to control how you trying to think in the free exercise of religious worship. Worshipping who? Yourself. Your ancestors. That's deep. I like that one from Delaware. I like that one on Delaware. So, to end this out, family, I'm going to hit y'all off with Washington. Brother Manson Musa, El Bay, has made a wish. So I will, I need to do all that. I will, being that we do domicile in Washington State as non-citizen nationals and not residents of the state, but actually states, citizens or nationals of the state of Morocco. Oh, Washington State, that's Article 1, Section 11. But let's go. I'll just pull it up anyway. Article 1, Section 11. I hate they do this crap. It's confusing. But whatever. Hopefully that's the whole thing. Okay, here we go. These ain't like the official PDF, but it ain't rocket science at this point. Here we go. Article 1, Declaration of Rights, and that will be in subsection 11. But I will read these three because I do like Washington before this right here. And this is how you know, like, yo, look at the preamble. We, the people of the state of Washington, people of the state of Washington, grateful to the supreme ruler of the universe for our liberties, do ordain this Constitution. What you mean? They give honors to the supreme ruler. So what you mean going through the court, declaring your nationality, invoking your religious freedom, put you in the jurisdiction? What you mean? What you mean? What you talking about? More. What you saying? What you saying? Look. All political power is inherent in the people, and governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed and are established to protect the main individual rights and maintain individual rights. I like Section 2, Supreme Law of the Land. The Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land. Section 3, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. I'm gonna skip further down. I'm gonna go to let's go. I'll be number 11. Religious freedom. Hello. Look at this. Absolute freedom of conscience in all matters of religious sentiment, belief, and worship. Now that we know what religion means, according to law, that means all my issues dealing with my deed of trust. Absolute freedom of conscience in all matters of religious sentiment, belief, and worship shall be guaranteed to every individual, and no one shall be molested or disturbed in person or property on account of religion. This is why I say register your vehicles to your religious trust. Just because the state don't say this, this is how all states are functioning. They're all on one accord. Religious people, religious property. Don't touch. That's holy. Don't touch. And no one shall be molested or disturbed in person or property on account of religion. But the liberty of conscience hereby secured shall not be so construed as to excuse acts of licentiousness or justify practices inconsistent with the peace and safety of the state. No public money or property shall be appropriated for or applied to any religious worship, exercise, or instruction. That's why we operate from the private sector, y'all. Or the support of any religious establishment, provided, however, that this article shall not be so construed as to forbid the employment by the state of a chaplain for such of the state custodial, correctional, and mental institutions, or by a county's or public hospital, district's hospital, healthcare facility, or hospice, as in the discretion of the legislature, may seem justified. No religious qualification shall be required for any public office or employment, nor shall any person be incompetent as a witness or juror in consequence of his opinion on matters of religion. You mean your opinion on the matters of trust? Well, if you talk about trust, you shouldn't be coming from a place of opinion, should you? Nor be questioned in any court of justice touching his religious belief to affect the weight of his testimony. So that's what that says for Washington State. So I'm good. Mansa Musa, we good. Everyone else in your other states, if you get back in alignment with whoopsie, get back to exercising your religion, because in your religion you will find your nationality, your inalienable rights, your inheritance, and your protections. In the name of the ancestors. I am so clowning with y'all right now, y'all. I tell you that. That's okay. Catch it on the replay. It's like DVR. As soon as this joint load, people will be able to watch this joint. So, don't worry about not catching it live. The good part is you can rewind it, right? So nothing will be missed. And the best part is it'll say it the exact same way I said it the first time. Nothing will be changed. That's pretty much it, man. I'm just going to, let me check these chats real quick. I hope this was clear for everyone. Yeah, you're right on that, Root Words. Tripoli, Delaware. That would be Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. That would be Tripoli, my friend. Yeah, so just look up your Constitution. Trust me, it'll either be under the Bill of Rights, which is normally the first section after the preamble, and read your preamble too, because they always talk about the universal leader or the universal creator. So as you can see, everyone's talking about deeds of trust, y'all. Covenants to the creator or the ancestors. That's who they're talking about when they say the Most High or the Almighty ancestors, dude. So look up the state constitution. See where your religious freedoms are, which will normally be in the first article. Either it's going to be called the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Rights, or it might be some other thing. But so far, from all the constitutions I ran across, I see either Bill of Rights or Declaration of Rights. And in there, you will find something dealing with religious freedom. Okay? So let's get back to consular court. Let's get back to being consuls. Let's get back to being high priests of Anu. Let's get back to our deed of trust. Let's get back to our true religion, according to law. True religion. Not dogma, not fake, not semi, not hezi religion. True religion. And you don't have true religion if you don't have, one, knowledge of self, and knowledge of the covenants your ancestors left for you to still utilize today for your protection. And that's that for today, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate everyone who came through. Support. Love y'all. As always. That's a good question. No, I'm not familiar with HR 1203. If you want to chop it up with me, look, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. You can email me here. If anybody needs to chop it up with me or hit me up, you can email me there. I just posted the email in the chat. Also, Brother Chris Shaw asks, is nationality card necessary? Yes, but it's not necessary for you to be able to function in the public. You would want to have a nationality card, as for one, you want to have self-identification to show, you know what I'm saying, the original country you're coming from, first of all. And second, two, especially if you have a community that you're building, or you have a community of Moors who are on the same wavelength, and you're all, you know what I'm saying, going through the right processes now, going through the court to declare your nationality, consular court, you know what I'm talking about? Once you're doing that, you want to have some type of temple ID or nationality card from your community that expresses the fact that this being is a part of this community. And then to go along with that, you want to have your passport. You can have the book or card or both. I have my passport, book, and my card. I'm kind of mad because I left my card in my bag, and my mate took the card to Federal Way to go, to go build with the children. So mad at myself, but either way, that's what you should have: your self-identification or your identification stating that you're a member of this indigenous community, and your passport, book, and card, which should also reflect you and your free national name and your photo with your religious headdress on, showing that you still have what? Let me show y'all. That you still have, you're going to see how simple it is, right? Look, what embodies an American Indian? For one, is a person having origins in any of the original peoples. That means your birth certificate. Who's the owner of the birth certificate? That means when they see the owner of the birth certificate, they're like, oh, you're a people, and you have origins in the original peoples who came before you of North, South, Central America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. So it's not enough to just be from here. That's why the prophet said being born here doesn't make you a citizen. You have to show that you have a attachment to your holy covenant, to your nation, community attachment. That is what embodies you as an indigenous person legally. So this is why I say, in the photo, have your headdress on. When you're going into the courts, when you're going out into the public, I would suggest, if you're going out into the public, look like your ancestors. Look like yourself. Don't look like nobody else. This is how I look all day, every day. Anywhere I go, I look like this. If I'm going to the store, I look like this. If I'm going to watch one of my sons play basketball, I look like this. Okay? If I'm just going to go kick it with some Moors and just chill or vibe out with some old friends, I look like this. Okay? This is me. All day, every day. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just telling you where they are able to find the loopholes in the law. And when I say they, I mean so-called people who still want to keep us in economic slavery. Those guys. Okay? They don't want you to, that's why they want everyone to think they're from Africa. So you will never think to attach yourself back to the community that's been here in front of you the whole time. Because you're thinking you're from somewhere else. So you want to connect to Africa, but you don't want to connect to your ancestors right here, who've always been here. You know what I'm saying? So for us to be in our proper status, we do have to show some form of community attachment. And I'm not saying we have to look like that. What I'm saying is mentally. We have to be connected mentally to our nation. That means you have to be connected mentally to your treaty. Here and here. Like, you gotta feel that shit. When I read the treaty, I felt that shit. I felt that shit like, oh, word. So if I got my conveyance based on the declaration of the commander when the vehicle's registered and the plates is put on, but it's in the name of the trust according to the laws, the governing laws of the trust and the jurisdiction, boom, 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 then we have a right to not be fucked with. And guess what's happened for the past 2 years going on? No one's gotten stopped in their travels. No one. Before we knew better, we were getting stopped in our travels quite often. Going to the courts quite often, bailing tribal members out quite often, putting our own bread up, waking up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out what happened to one of our tribal members, where they got kidnapped, where they at, where they got taken to, how long you trying to hold them for, what's the bail amount, is there a bondsman, man? We do so much stuff, yo. It's not worth it. It's not the law. That's not how to protect yourself. Our ancestors did the hard work already. Everything else from this point is easy. It's a layup. Lay it up. Our ancestors set it up for us already. We don't got to recreate a deed of trust. They already got the deed of trust. We just need to make our own personal trust, right, to protect ourselves and connect it to what our ancestors already established. And then we Gucci. It's not complicated. There aren't a whole bunch of laws like da-da-da-da-da. No, it's really like common sense of putting it together. Oh, religion? What is religion? Oh, my ability to use, will, manipulate, or handle my deed of trust to do what? Protect my ass and secure my property, secure my persons and my papers, and pass that down on to my children. That's what that's for? Oh, that's easy. But I can't do that unless I'm one of the people, and the people have passports. The people are not residents of the state. The people reside in the states, but they're not residents. You see the difference? Because a resident, they have that legally as a noun. That is an identifiable thing. Resident. To reside is the verb. It's an action. It's something is being done. Okay? It's not who you are, it's what you're doing. So yes, we can reside in these states. Look. Last thing and then I'll go. Look. Look. Form 5. Residence in foreign parts does not affect the nationality of Moorish subjects, and the Moorish government has no means of protecting its subjects permanently residing in other countries. Let me say that one more time. And the Moorish government has no means of protecting its subjects permanently residing in other countries, with the exception of a so-called Moorish consul at Gibraltar and the Moorish agent at Cairo, Egypt. Cairo, Egypt, that would be Illinois, and Gibraltar would be, where's Gibraltar at? Gibraltar would be, I believe that's Lake Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. In that, the 5 Great Lakes area, that is Gibraltar. All right, so that's pretty much around Michigan. And Cairo, Egypt, that's Illinois. But see, studying, now I can see that because I studied the maps and I know that all these places were here first, right? So when they say Cairo, Egypt, I'm not thinking about little Egypt over there in Africa. I'm thinking about Cairo, Egypt. You mean Cairo, Illinois? Ain't there a Cairo in Illinois? Interesting. But look, residence in foreign parts does not affect the nationality of Moorish subjects, and the Moorish government has no means of protecting its subjects permanently residing in other countries, with the exception of a so-called Moorish consul at Gibraltar and a Moorish agent at Cairo, Egypt. So do you understand now why Prophet Noble Drew Ali established the Moorish Science Temple of America in Illinois? Or I should say in Egypt? Just to bring that to the forefront. Yes. yeah, definitely should separate the Moorish history and the Moorish law. If people don't really understand it precisely, then the shit can get messy. And that's why I really don't spend too much time trying to focus on people's private understanding of how this thing works. I'm more so focused on making sure we got the same public understanding, you know what I'm saying, of who we are and what we need to do, the process. We need to be in alignment publicly. Honestly, privately, we will never all agree on the same thing. Never. Because if that was the case, then the world would be boring because everyone would just be the same. We would just all be a bunch of yes men. You know what I mean? So it's bitter, but it's sweet at the same time. It's like, I hate the fact we don't all agree, but then I love the fact we don't all agree. Now, like I said, where we need to not agree, we can do that privately. On, like, religion, we can disagree on what religion means privately. Publicly, though, according to the law, we should all be in the same line of what religion is. There should be no arguments. Yo, deed of trust, yo, you connected back to your deed of trust? Yeah, I took my name correction and judicial proclamation. I filed it down at the at the county recorder's office. Like, no, 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 no. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, did you go into the courts and get your judicial relief? Did you go and get your judicial relief under the general rules of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution? Did you get your judicial relief from consular court? Are you a consul? Because the first step is, oh shit, I'm not black. Second step is, oh yeah, I'm Moor. Third step is, oh yeah, I'm a high priest. Fourth step is, oh, I'm a consul. And then the fifth step is, let me build my wealth, live my life. That's how that should go. All right? So, like I said, family, with that, I'm going to let y'all go. I've been here for almost 2, so we Gucci on that. Love, life, Islam family. Till next time, peace. Get out of here.